they will respect you only if they see value in you. If they see
Mm-hmm.
you a challenge or hurdle in their achieving a result, so they may not respect you so much or give their heart and soul to you. And recently, Asian Games has adopted as recognized it as a sport. Olympics is soon going to do that in coming years. So it is now a very serious sport. The person who is writing FIRE wants to be very sure that
Yeah.
you're not filing a wrong complaint, right? So
Yeah.
it challenges you, questions you, tries to be very sure before lodging that complaint. I was part of that. It is
Yeah.
very difficult to transform your weakness into your strength. Make that
Yeah.
right. He did that. So again, he is
Yeah.
inspiration for me.
Good, amazing afternoon, audience. It's a beautiful Sunday afternoon. Audience, today we have got Mr. Ajay Rattan as our guest. And Ajay is currently Assistant Vice President, Safety, Sustainability, Solutions Business, and Corporate Communications. Pretty large team, I'm pretty sure he must be leading. And certainly we'll talk about his experiences as a leader. And also we shall speak a bit about how Ajay keeps his team inspired. You know, team management and some of these things which people keep on talking about and people keep on writing about on LinkedIn, and everybody writes and hardly people get their sense of it. So we'll talk about it. Audience, I always thank everyone who comes as a guest for one simple fact. It's something which is very important, a point. The point here is that as I wrote my first page and then I completed some 10 plus books over last 3 years rather. And as I did some coaching programs and as I delivered some talks and started talking to people, I got a feeling that despite being an author, I got this realization that one of the key reasons why most of the people might be having challenges in relations, in career, in life, in different aspects, in health as well, is the reason is that we do not talk to people, we do not get some lessons, we do not get some inspiring messages from people, because despite being an author, I'll say that you may, even if you do not read a book, it's okay. But if you read people, if you learn from people, every walking person is a university. And believe me, it's true. And you're going to see a live demonstration over the next few minutes' time. Do watch this video till the end, because only then you're going to see how Ajay's journey is going to have all the lessons which anybody may ever require on this planet. I'm saying this with humility, with conviction, for becoming successful. Ajay, once again, thank you so much for sparing your time. It's not an easy thing, I know. There are a lot of things happening around, and of course, the kind of work which you are doing is absolutely commendable. Audience, Ajay started his career in 1995. He joined a company called Vikram Cement. He was in sales. Then he moved to, and of course, he worked for almost 3.5 years in Vikram Cement. There's a message for people who keep on changing a company every 6 months, no? And then Ajay joined another company called Pidilite Industries Limited, where he worked for another 3 years. Amazing. And then Ajay moves to a company which is one of the best companies. Of course, all the companies are great, but this is one of the best companies that I have worked in, Tata Blue Steel Limited. And it was 2008. I joined the company in December 2006. Ajay joined just maybe a year later. And then Ajay has been working in this company over last almost 15 years, Ajay. Starting
Yes,
2000,
15 years. I just
Ajay
completed
has
15 years.
15 years, right? Yeah. And Ajay has been has worked in different fields. So he has worked in the fields of sales, in strategic planning, in marketing, in inventory management, debtors, and of course, currently he's holding 4 portfolios as we spoke about. So he's currently leading the teams in solutions business, safety, sustainability, and corporate communications. Ajay, welcome once again. I've seen one thing while going through a profile, and this is very interesting pattern which I see, that you are one of those very few people who have worked in a promoter-driven company and a Tata company. We shall certainly talk a bit about culture, which is a very important aspect of our working and living. But before that, Ajay, when you look back on your journey, and of course, we're going to talk about something on parenting, because Ajay is a parent who has done something which will certainly inspire people like you. and thousands and lakhs of people. So we are going to talk about that because Ajay's son, I think, let me tell some of the viewers before some of the people might think of switching over to some those reels. Let me tell you that Ajay's son has been, you can see the thing in the backdrop, has also played football matches under the banner of FIFA. He's pretty young boy player, and of course, I think it's something which Ajay is the best person to talk about. But yeah, when you look back on your journey, which are those some of the thoughts which come to your mind? And once again, thank you so much for sparing your time.
My pleasure, Arun. This is always been a pleasure talking to you, the person who is so positive, who is so vibrant, and who is so passionate about his work, his role. And one of the best time was when I shared commandate with you, and you were part of my team. So, Arun, if look back at my journey, I'm not sure whether I have achieved something or not, but I really enjoyed my journey, I'll say. If I have to coin a name for my journey, I would say I was very passionate, lucky juggler. So, so
Gee.
yeah, I was very passionate, lucky juggler because not because juggling was my hobby. It was
Yeah,
only because I was passionate about learning and practicing new things in my life. As
absolutely,
we as
absolutely.
we talk further, we'll come to know that I have touched upon various aspects of life just out of my
Mm.
passion, and I did not want to miss anything. But I realized that it is as if collecting beautiful balls in your hand, right? But then you got only two
Ajay
hands.
certainly has got four different balls in his and
Yeah.
he's managing all the four.
So beyond a point you can't hold balls. So only way to keep pursuing your passion of collecting beautiful balls is to start the or learn the art of juggling. And then also that's how I it was forced upon me. And then I realized, and why I'm lucky is because I was very fortunate to get the support, guidance, as well as I would say the companionship who helped me in pursuing my passion of going for new things, good things, as well as practicing all those things.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So,
Mm. I think Ajay, I can fully correlate because I was while working in Tata Plus Steel a neighbor of Ajay in the office. So we used to sit very close by, and I often used to see Ajay. At times he used to send some written messages on weekly basis to his team to just to see that the team remains bonded together, remains inspired together, and the team does not miss any of the goals. I also used to see Ajay as a person who was very, very inspired while having one-to-one conversations. I often used to see some of your team members sitting with you and you having conversation with them. And most importantly, what I see is that Ajay also has been a person who is very, very, very team. He's very much a team person. So I always used to see the fact that Ajay is a very humble person, very good to talk to, no arrogance, no ego. By the way, these two words are at the core of all the ills which are marring, which are troubling people in various areas, including corporates. Ajay had none of these. And he was also a person who was smiling and working with people, and while still getting all the outcomes which are required. Ajay, it's an amazing journey for you. I fully appreciate. And Ajay, of course, people talk a lot about leadership and management. Certainly, we shall come to that. But let me come back to those four balls which you have been juggling. And now let me correct me. It's not only four. Ajay has also got other responsibilities which is doing so well. So Ajay, while taking care of all the responsibilities on office front, you also have seen that your children get groomed very well. So I think you have got at least half a dozen balls, and of course, health and other things. Ajay also is a person who has been a part of some of these. I've seen some kind of group activities, some for corporate on corporate level. So Ajay, how do you handle all these six half a dozen balls while still smiling, while still not losing your calm, while still not turning arrogant? Because if some people get a feeling that they can handle even two balls, they will turn arrogant. And you have been managing so many things. So what keeps you grounded? What keeps you a person who with whom everybody wants to talk to and people love working with you?
so I'm really fortunate, Arun, and thanks for quoting such good words about me. I'm not sure whether I am really respected so much or not, but I really realize that people really want to. We are very comfortable working with me, And this may be because of my upbringing since childhood, that I was well read.
Yeah.
I read a lot of novels, a lot of stories. I read almost each and every author, I would say, Rabindranath
Yeah.
Tagore, Madhavi Verma, or Leo Tolstoy, or Shakespeare, Khushwant Singh. But the author which actually changed my life was Munshi Premchand, and his simplicity actually appealed me.
Yeah.
And that is where I realized that there's a difference between managers and leaders. So, though both of them use resources to produce result, but the difference is the manager uses resources to produce result, but leaders inspire his people to get the result. So, all good leaders may be good managers, but all good managers may not be good leaders. So
Yeah.
this all depends on team, because one person cannot do everything. He has to
Mm.
depend upon people. Difference between a manager and, again, coming back to the same thing, leader, is a manager can or the team can just put in efforts to produce the results. But
Yeah.
for leader, the team of leader, the team puts the heart and soul also to produce the results. That is where. So I was very fortunate that my team was one of the biggest strength all across, and I only have to say one, or I have to just seed an idea, and that team puts their heart and soul to make me successful or make themselves successful. And in turn, I also get recognition that, yeah, my team is doing really well. And just now I'm handling four portfolio. Just little while ago, I was also handling CSR as well as I would say travel and admin. So again, two different owners as well as two different complexities. But it really sort of gave me a lot of motivation to learn new things and get going. And I was really fortunate. Coming back to the home, and if you are talking about, so I tell you, parenting, you just touched on parenting.
Yeah.
So again, this is one of the most, I would say, most important phase of life, but one of the most misused word. Parenting is, many times people think it is about telling a kid what they should be doing. So
Yeah.
what we felt is, parenting is not about telling kid what to do. It is
Yeah.
about it is about knowing from the kid what
Yeah.
they are passionate about doing, right? And then give the support. And for
Yeah.
parenting, it is not one man's job. Again,
Yeah.
you need a companion, right? If
Yeah.
I'm allowed to quote few lines, which, because I also have passion of writing, so I have to quote few lines from one of the poems that I've written. So they say ki, and that's in Hindi, if I'm allowed to say so.
Please, 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 please.
तो इट इज व्हाट, मिल जाती है मंजिलें, राहें कठिन या आसान हो, मिली जाती हैं मंजिलें, राहें कठिन या आसान हो, बहुत जरूरी है हमराही, साथ में ऐसा इंसान हो, बहुत जरूरी
Yeah,
है
wow.
हमराही, साथ में ऐसा इंसान हो, हर पग पर यूं लगे माने अर्जुन के साथ भगवान हो. So,
Wow. Wow.
so
Wow.
you need a
Wow.
companion, be it your
Awesome.
parent, be it your spouse, be it your siblings, be your team members, who keeps sort of guiding you the way Lord Krishna has guided Arjun in the Mahabharata, right?
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
I was very fortunate. I'm very fortunate that I am blessed with a very, very, I would say, very knowledgeable wife. I was a very orthodox parent. I was a very orthodox parent who has his own biases, that there are certain ways of doing right thing, but she keep correcting me. She was a link between me and my kids. That that is where we need to be changed. Only thing is that I heard to her, and really both of my sons, they really proved me wrong many times, and now they are making me proud also, both of them. And now I'm also fortunate to include one more member in my family, who is my daughter-in-law again.
Yeah. Wow. Wow. Congratulations. Congratulations. Ajay, this is very, very, very interesting thing. So you gave the credit, being a humble person that I have always known you. You gave the used some of the words like luck and fortune, and you gave the credit to people who supported you. I'm pretty sure if I talk to one of your team members, they also will use some of these words, that they also are lucky to have a leader like you. And I'm pretty sure it's pretty much in place. How do you build and inspire a good team? What are those two, just a few things which you have done just to see that the team is good? And of course, I spoke about some of the things based on my experience, but let's listen to you.
So, Arun, what I feel is to be a good leader, first and foremost, in the first mantra, which is non-negotiable, is first be a good human being. You need to be a good human being. That's the first mantra. It may be a mantra for each and every aspect of life, but for being a good leader, you need to be a good human being. And good human being is that treat other person as a human being, right? He also has got his challenges. He or she, when I'm using he, so it's like neutral, gender neutral, right? So I have got large team having gender diversity also. So
Yeah.
as a team leader, you need to know each and every person of your team, his or her challenges, his achievements, achievement of his family or her family, and areas where he needs or she needs support. And that's where one of the famous, I would say, doha comes to my mind, that
Please, please.
leader is like a porter, right? And it's
Yeah.
like गुरु कुमार शिष्य कुम है घड़ी घड़ी काड़े कोट अंतर हाथ सहार दे बाहर भाई छोड़. So leader
Hmm.
is like a porter, right? And these team members are just like the, I would say, a clay to be molded. And you need to remove the kinks from the outside by patting, but at the same time you need to keep that support from inside so that they do not collapse. That's how you remove their kinks, and then creating a beautiful pot out of these no budding talent, or I would say the team members. So
Beautiful.
I followed this
Beautiful.
mantra all along. And same as I'm seeing the picture of Saksham. So
Yeah.
you just put that picture of Saksham. So I was really fortunate that when he recently represented India in
Mm-hmm.
uh, in
Wow.
Riyadh. So yeah, thanks, Arun.
Yeah.
And he was very fortunate to carry the Indian flag. So dream of any player is to represent country, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
he represented Team India in Riyadh, and he was part of All India Football Federation in esports version.
Yeah.
So because of injuries, he had to move to esports. I was again an unorthodox parent. I who never like I have my biases that first and foremost he was very good in studies. So I thought that I had forecasted he's an IIT and stuff, right? IIT stuff.
Yeah.
So I always
Yeah.
wanted to pursue studies. He was good at studies, but I don't know when and how he started developing his passion of sports. And then again, I was not very happy. My wife intervened and said, "No, let her." And my elder son also pursued that. Let us give him some time. And
Hmm.
I gave 1 year to him to prove. And then he was actually part of his university team, football team, field team, but he had a lot of injuries, ligament tears, and all that.
Hmm.
And then he switched over to esports version of esports. Now that was the last thing I can actually aspire. He being a graduate civil engineer, and then switching over to sports, and as a professional career, and then that also esports, which was unheard. But then what I did is that I went through some of the papers around esports, and then I happened to go through one of the papers by Harvard
Yeah. Okay.
University,
Okay.
and that is where I read that coming years, esports is going to surpass conventional sports in terms of viewership as well as investment. So then I realized, because as a parent, we always what we want from our kids is that they should be successful in their life, and they should be free of all the struggles that we have seen in terms of earning as well as having I would say upbringing is all about that. So then I was a bit convinced that the this line also esports also is not a bad line to pursue. And once I've decided, then we started giving the full support to him, and
Wow.
then he joined one of the finest clubs of the country. He joined one of the largest club of esports from Europe. Then he was signed. He was the first one to be signed by Mumbai City Football Corporation.
Yeah.
Football in Mumbai. It is part of so, and then thereafter he was picked up by All India Football Federation, esports version of that. He was selected to play for country, and then he recently participated, and there his performance was a lot appreciated. So the point is not about success or woe. The thing is that so this is about parenting. That's what we have our own biases, right? As per me, this is not a good choice. So, but he proved me wrong. And only thing is, we just gave that support to him. You pursue your passion, and we are there. And there are a lot of
Hmm.
negatives all across from our family members, from our relatives, from society. that you guys are wasting his life, you are trying spoiling his life, he's wasting his life. But then once we have decided, when we decided, then we thought that we are going to go all out with him, and that's also.
Awesome, Ajay. Thank you so much for narrating it so well. Just for the sake of audience, maybe some of the people might not be aware of the these e-sports. Would you like to share something about e-sports thing? I mean, how exactly it differs from and how exactly it's going to pick up? Yeah.
Yeah, so esports has got two versions, online as well as offline.
Okay.
Online is, and majorly it is played on PlayStations, and online you can play from anywhere.
Yeah.
Offline, like the one event which happened, is a World Cup event which happened in Riyadh, where 24 nations
Oh,
participated. It was it was conducted in the football stadium there, and
wow.
he also was part of the team who won for the first time the 2v2 championship in Malaysia, where
Yeah.
Prince of Sanganor came and participated. Again, it was conducted in football stadium. So in India, it is catching up. It is still not a known concept. So it's like online version, but played either online or offline.
Offline
It is
also.
so it is either a solo player plays or two players play, two versus two, right? And
Beautiful. Yeah, please.
yeah, it has got all the tricks in the leaf. And so if we want to so some people used to ridicule as a computer game, but it also requires a lot of skills. The
Yeah.
best part of esports, or what I like, is it does not discriminate among the gender, among the physically, I would say, people who are not physically so fit. So that's why I find that this is one of the sport. And recently, Asian Games has adopted as recognize it as a sport. Olympics is soon going to do that in coming years. So it is now a very serious sport.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful, Ajay. First of all, congratulations for this amazing achievement of Saksham, because I have been following him on social media. I keep on seeing that he has been playing in various countries. You spoke about some of these countries in UAE, and also I can see that he has been doing something which is very rare. Is the achievement is pretty rare. And once again, congratulations, because I think one of the first tenets of parenting, as Ajay said, and of course, I'm not the best person to speak about it, because the moment my wife sees me talking about parenting, she will say, "Where is Arun? Let me talk to him." Okay, he's speaking about all the great things, and let me see how much time he has been spending with his kids. But I think Ajay is certainly the best person to speak about it. Ajay, I think the way you have supported your child in his endeavor, in following something which is a matter of passion and talent for him, is something which is commendable. An audience, just pay a little attention to what we're talking about. It's important for all of us to appreciate the talents or inherent passion or abilities of our team members, of our children, of people that we know who are connected to us in some way. And let's try and give some support in some way, directly or indirectly. Of course, being a parent, of course, I'm pretty sure that we all have to give direct support for seeing such an achievement happening. Elsewhere in the office, in corporate setup, certainly we can give some direct or indirect support, because that's the way. I think that's the only way teams become greater and companies become great. Because it's very easy for people to talk about supporting or caring or giving freedom or empowering people, and then it's very difficult for people to actually put it in real life practice. See, for example, if I just draw a parallel, people talk a lot about empowerment. I think this is one of the best examples of empowering people. You have empowered your son to follow his passion, to do something which we all know that the son is very good at. Otherwise, there are many cases where people want to do something great. They want to try with a new idea. They want to have some new initiative which they wanted to have some budget for, or something they wanted to do with. But then their bosses, their manager, or maybe their ecosystem in in that corporate, in that organization, is not supporting it. So I think that is the first thing, and which is all about identifying the fact that recognizing the fact that we all have got some talent, something which is in a nascent stage. It's like a seed, and for the seed to become a tree, only then people will come and start clapping. There is a lot which is going, and I think Ajay is the best person to think of, to reflect back on the journey. And thank you so much, Ajay, for sharing this. Ajay, coming to the topic of leadership, and thank you so much before that for having shared some of the tenets of how to build a great team, and you have done it. Talking about leadership, so many people talk about leadership, but bhai akhar prem ka padhe so pandit hoye. So let's talk about leadership. Of course, you have spoken about some of these things, some of these elements of being a great leader. Would you like to talk about some of these qualities which you think make a great leader, a really good leader?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So yeah, sorry, we got digressed in between, and yeah, so I was just touching about that only. So the
please.
biggest trait a leader must have is that he has to have right at his heart at the right place, right? He has to be a human being. He must understand that he's dealing with human beings. He's not
Yeah,
dealing with machines. So managers deal with machines, but leaders deal with human beings. They deal with people, and people have got heart at their place. They also have
true.
got issues. They also have got challenges.
Yeah,
So your results cannot be at the cost of their, no, I would say, crossing the limits beyond which a human being has to happen. So
yeah.
you have to have the, I would say, first and foremost, you must treat your team as your asset, right?
Mm,
That's what I've been doing. If
mm,
again I go back to my uh, old example of juggling, using too many balls in my hand. So one way is that you practice juggling, and
yeah.
at the most you may juggle 3 or 4 balls. The other
Mm,
way is you you change the rule, right? Juggling, you just use people to juggle the ball along with you. So you tell them to hold the ball. So that's what I do. I have different departments. At one point in time, I was heading 6 different departments, all in different directions, and none of them being my domain area. I was hardcore. Like I started my career as a civil engineer, and then went into techno sales, and then I now handle travel, admins, corpcom, safety, sustainability, without knowing anything about that. But what I did is I repose faith in my team members, right?
mm,
I picked the best out of them and gave them full support and learned through them, right? So in this
mm,
life, we can't learn. You are graduated from one of the best colleges, right? So, but you could gain only 2 or 3 degrees. Best way is that if you hire some people from different institutes or different skill set, then they will strengthen your knowledge only and
yeah,
your area
true.
of impact only. So leaders must see their team members as their assets, right? That's what I feel. And
Mm,
lead from the front. You need to lead from the front. And I remember where and the people to follow. You must keep reading about these leaders, good leaders. APJ Abdul Kalam is one of the greatest leaders we have had, right? So even if I do not get into the controversy, some say some follow the teachings of Mahatma Gandhi, some say I am not. But one thing nobody can deny is he was also one of the greatest leader. He was
yeah,
able to sort of lead the entire country behind him, right?
yeah, yeah.
So you must have those, I would say, traits to bind your team and convince them, inspire them to follow your direction, right? And then give them freedom, give them empowerment, what you say, engage with them only to the extent that they require any support.
Yeah.
So many times what happens is leaders try to control their team. So one thing very early in my career, I realized that they will respect you only if they see value in you. If they see
Mm,
you a challenge or hurdle in their achieving their result, so they may not sort of respect you so much or give their heart and soul to you. So, so I was heading so many departments. So what I thought is we had to start. So I was also clueless. So I said, let me start with the most painful problem that they are facing, each one of
yeah.
them. So I started picking them as a let that be my KPI. My KPI would be for each and every department, the problems that they are facing. Let me try to eliminate those problems
Yeah.
or try to make their life a bit easier. And it actually clicked, and it
Yeah.
actually clicked
Yeah.
in all the, I would say this is one mantra, it has clicked every time, it hasn't failed ever. So a leader must
Mm-hmm.
know his team well, he must know about the problems they're facing, and leader should never be a roadblock in achieving their goals. It should only be a bridge for them to achieve their results. And he is a role model, right? So there you need to sort
Mm-hmm.
of sometimes sacrifice your comfort. Sometimes you have to, so you have to walk gracefully, you have to talk gracefully, you have to lead by example. They are you are even if they may not tell you, but you are seen as their role model. So
Yeah,
either they will
absolutely.
treat you as a role model or they will just discard you.
Ajay is amazing. An audience, let's go back to what Ajay has said. These are fundamental principles. I always tell people that You do not even have to read books on leadership. Leadership is something, just go to basic fundamentals. I recall, Ajay, while being in engineering college, while studying in engineering college in BIT Meshra, of course, I think you also, you have studied from Rajasthan. There used to be some students who were known as fundus. Fundus mean they are great at fundamentals. Especially we used to use this word in physics and
Right.
mathematics. So these people had the ability to go down to the basic fundamental principles, and then instead of using a formula, they used to actually create a formula, right? And these are
Right.
the people who were the best candidates for IITs. When I
Yes.
got into this field in 2018-19, I started getting a feeling, and that happened after coaching, after writing, after spending some 10,000 plus hours, and still I think I'm a student. I keep on learning. I started getting a feeling that everything in HR, for example, be it leadership, be it teamwork, be it conflict resolution, be it parenting, be it motivation, be it empowering, be it ethics. We can simply go back to the fundamentals and then we can get all the lessons in front of us. They are all floating. That's the reason I always say, those who have seen some of my videos, that all the secrets are floating around us. They are in open air. They're hanging around us. We just can't see it because we are shallow people who are busy doing this and this and this and this and this. So we are not exactly in the moment. For example, first thing he said very clearly, that mindset. First, to believe that your team is an asset. Now, how many leaders actually believe that their team is an asset? They will get a feeling that I am the asset for the company. I am the only asset for the company. So this has to be set right. Mindset has to be set right. Your belief has to be set right. Once you believe that your people are your assets, they are not your liabilities, all your actions and behaviors will get aligned accordingly. First thing. Second thing I just spoke about is all about empowerment. Give empowerment to people, boss. Let them also juggle their balls now, because that's the best way for them to learn. What I've seen while being in this field of coaching and writing, I always, and other things, I have always seen that the best way for people to learn is by doing something themselves, because that's the way I also got a new and deeper meaning in all that I had been reading for many years, but I started getting a deeper meaning since 2018-19 when I started doing some of these things myself. And that's the reason people say that. I think Einstein said no, that the only learning for me is the learning which I have experienced. He has said something which is all about this only. The true learning is only about the things which you experience yourself. The rest all is just gyan, which is, yesterday somebody was cracking a joke and he said that, somebody said something. Tell me, which is more precious, costlier, gyan or money? Person said money. Why? Because gyan har koi baanta, money koi nahi baanta. So what I'm saying is that people have started using some of these words, gyan and all that, out of frustration, because it's so easy for people to say without even knowing what they're saying. Once again, it's so easy for people to say something or write something on LinkedIn or give a speech without knowing what they're talking about. Ajay has spoken about four things. If you just build these four qualities good enough, then I think this is the second thing which Ajay spoke about. And Ajay spoke about other things which are very important. He also spoke about the fact that, and this is a common fundamental thing. This is true with, of course, we shall talk about sales also. Even in the field of sales, this is true. Let's show our value. Boss, value addition kya kiya? A customer, if the customer sees that there is a value, because customer is having problem, for that matter, anybody in this world has got a problem. Can we know the problem, the point where the shoe is pinching, and can you create something so that his pinching shoe becomes a better shoe? The experience gets better. He will certainly pay for this. Correct, na? So I think some of these things
Agree.
which I just spoke about, I'm going to put it in the while editing the video. And I think if you go back to the basic fundamentals of life, everything in this world, all the management principles become so easy. That's the reason, Ajay, I was started doing a series of programs, management development programs, under one of the universities, which is coincidentally based in northern part of India. So they wanted me to lead their MDP division, where I go without a slide. I said, you give me the topic humbly. You tell me what is the topic: leadership, management, conflict. You talk about interpersonal. You talk about how to motivate team, how to create a team. One day long workshop, 1 hour workshop, half a day workshop, 2 days workshop. I'll come. We'll smile together. We'll take some deep breathing, and we shall go down to fundamentals, and then we shall get all the lessons. Example, Ajay, I'm just taking a couple of minutes here. I think it's very interesting a thing. Somebody was talking about teamwork. Somebody is talking about teamwork. And I often wonder why people do not get this basic message that teamwork is the essence. And then I give this demo. I give this demo to people while having a lot of, I have some Zoom calls. I ask them to name anything, any object which a person can see around the person. For example, even if the room in which you are sitting, or the hall from which you are attending, in this hall we have got a lot of things, right? We have got a fan, we have got a AC, we have got walls, we have got something, we have got a display in the background. Not a single thing in this world has ever been done by one person. Not a single thing. Even if I take the example of, like, somebody took the example of a table starting from wood. Somebody had sown the seed, number one. Then some other person came and put a barricade, number two. Then the third person might have come, and he or she would have been had been, watering the tree, watering the sapling for many days, for many months, for many years. And then the tree grows, and then somebody cuts the tree, cuts the wood. Then some other person comes with his trailer. He or she transports the wood to the nearby timber, whatever. And then somebody does, there is a carpenter, and then there is a showroom. And then Ajay or somebody goes and buys it. I mean, look, if a table has got a teamwork, why do we have to do 2 days workshop for people to understand the meaning of teamwork? So I think this is a very fundamental thing. And the way you said is
Fantastic.
absolutely right. And that's the
Very
way
nicely
that's
articulated.
my mission in life, that I want to have to at least see that as many companies, as many leaders as possible, and I'm saying this with humility, they start learning from people, from things which are around them, surrounding them, from situations, while reflecting back on their own life. And once that happens, you become a walking leader. That's the reason, Ajay, I'm pretty sure everybody from the audience can connect. If you think back and look back about think back about some of the leaders, some of the best of leaders, they might not have been the best of readers. They might have been reading, which is always a great thing, because reading is like spending some time or having some coffee with some of the wisest brains. That's okay. Having said that, some of the best of leaders are some of the best of doers. They actually practice and they're learning from their own life. They're learning while doing. They're learning while doing, and that's the reason in coaching I always inspire people to do. Great, Ajay. So Ajay, so we spoke about some of these important things. We also got a feeling that it's all there around us. It's just that we are not able to watch it. And even I never used to see those meanings till it happened, till a different thing happens. And that's the reason I always talk about the fact that everybody can become version 2.0, 3.0, 4.0, 5.0. That's the topic of transformation. Okay. So Ajay, you also spoke about parenting, which is a very important subject. Ajay, I also know that you also have been traveling, right? Because I'm pretty sure that even in the course of your
Certainly.
traveling, you also might have traveled to some of the places. And we did speak about the fact that we can learn not only from books, we can also learn from people and situations, and certainly from places. This is a picture which I got from one of your social media pages. Of course, you are also coming somewhere. The whole
So
picture is
this
not
is
so good.
Bhutan. This is Bhutan.
Bhutan, wow. So
So
let's talk a bit
amazing
about
place.
learning from places, and how nature, and how, and then I'll share something. How do
So
you think?
nature is again, it's very close to my heart,
Yeah.
and one of the reasons why I started writing also, I was all along reading. So I had a long list of hobbies. Very recently, I think 2016 or I started writing also.
Wow.
And this nature actually prompted me. So, and sometimes it used to inspire me, sometimes it used to pain me when I used to see the way we are exploiting nature, the way we are doing bad to nature. So, and it happened so that because of business trip, I went to Bhutan, and I would say I have traveled to some of the other countries also. But Bhutan is one which really touched my heart.
Mm.
Very, I would say, good people, nice people. They they respect their nature. It is very clean environment. The rivers flowing are so clean. I don't know whether it is all along, but wherever I went, they were so clean that you can see the, I would say, the what's the ground below that also, the and the trees, and it's a very beautiful place, I would say. A very content people, because
Yeah, yeah.
that's what look like, very peaceful, very content
Very
people. So
peaceful.
this
And this,
picture is from Bhutan.
I'm pretty sure that these moments also inspire people. I always inspire the mentees, the people that who talk to me, to spend some time with nature, if possible, to spend some time every single day. While being a little early in the morning, if somebody just to spend some time, while being with yourself, doing something, some of these morning habits, which I prefer calling as MMRG, magical morning rituals for greatness. I think the world is all about magic. It's magical. Just see, like you spoke about the fact that when you go to Bhutan, it's all beautiful. All the rivers are clean. So this is like high Himalayas. And as things start coming down, as they start flowing down, things start getting more of dirt and pollutants. Is this exactly the same which happens with person who joins a corporate. When the person comes from VIT, Mishras, and mechanical, after doing mechanical engineering, or there are people who do their IIM Ahmedabad courses, and then they come from Harvard and some of these best of institutions. They are absolutely, pure. And as they start moving, progressing in the value chain, while getting more and more experience, some people actually start getting things, and then they start behaving in such a manner that also gets you shocked while reflecting back on the person and asking this question to yourself, as how come a person who has studied, who did his MBA for full 2 years in Harvard, can disempower his people to the extent the person is doing. It's very interesting things. Of course, there are two parallels which we are taking. And that's the reason it's very important for us to go back to the fundamental. Go to Bhutan, and start looking at the movement from there. You will start seeing some of these things. Why some of the things which are behind the problems which people are having. And of course, we spoke
Exactly.
about humility and some of these qualities which are very important. Very important. Ajay, great. I wanted to ask you a question about corporate and culture, but before that, let me change the background. So, Ajay, you spoke about yeah, the the your passion or your hobby of writing. I will just take a minute here with the audience. Audience is always important, and this is something which I always inspire people to do. To at least spare some time every week while doing something which you love doing, be it painting, be it singing, be it walking, be it cycling, be it going for a long distance drive, be it spending some time in the company of nature, be it writing a poem, be it writing. Do something which you love, because when you do something and you love doing something, it's clear that whatever you call it, God, universe has given a thread for you, for that thing within you. And when you do something which makes you happy, actually, it is one of the best de-stressors, which will give you energy to do your work in a better way while still staying calm and smiling while being in the office. And that's one of the secrets why Ajay has been able to handle half a dozen balls, juggling. And believe me, it's true. I'm saying this because these are some of the habits which I inculcate, which I inspire some of the mentees to build in their life. ये छोटी छोटी चीजें हैं अजय. होता क्या है कि हम जब भूटान से नीचे आए, हम इन छोटी चीजों को भूल गए. We forgot the power of breeze and pure water and breathing in. And now there are people who are talking about, who are teaching people to do meditation, Boss, these are the things which people have been talking about over the last thousands of years. But it's just that, these are some of the realizations which I had, that actually it's all there around us. It's just that we do not get it. Okay, Ajay, so let's talk about your poem. How did you and how do you feel when you write a poem?
So, Arun, let me tell you, uh, this is about since my childhood. I had very distinct hobbies, I would say. Very distinct, very different type hobbies.
Yeah.
So one of the hobbies was definitely I was very good at studies and I like reading. I just touched upon. I was well read. I read almost all the novels, but what appealed me was Munshi Premchandji because of his simplicity. The second hobby was not hobby, rather sports. So I was very passionate about playing cricket.
Yeah.
And middle of the summers also, like it used to be sunburns, but we used to go all out for cricket. And
Mhm.
I was quite good at that also. And third was not writing a poem, but instrumental. I was good at playing instruments, right? And this was because of genes. My mother used to sing and play, and my sister was also a very good singer, and she sings. But I picked up instruments, right? Playing
Yeah, yeah.
instruments. So during school days, I started playing banjo, harmonium, flute, guitar, and I have not learned from anyone. I just picked up, and by God's grace, we can say that any and every song of Bollywood, at least, which is melodies, I can play on instrument. Now I have got Yamaha keyboard, and how it happened is because those days we did not have inverter, and there were a lot of power cuts, right? So whenever power cuts used to happen, so rather than wasting time, I used to play instruments in the dark.
Yeah.
That's how it developed, and this is my first love, I can say. But in
Mhm.
2016, and during my school days, I wrote one poem accidentally. It got published, it got award and all that, but that was never a passion for me. But in 2016, I again wrote a poem in Hindi, and again it was appreciated. Then I thought that this is a very good. And you very rightly said, Arun. These are all hobbies. Now sports I can't play now. Now it's because of age. And music is one I can still pursue. And poem writing has lately got added into my list. These are the stress busters. And you are rightly said. This is one of the biggest, I would say, energy booster in me, which whenever I'm
Yeah.
down, very difficult for me to manage things.
Yeah.
And these are the stress busters. They again give back me the energy. They are my energy capsules. And in 2016, I started writing back. And and when I started, it was very bad. Then I
Yeah.
started researching. I happened to come across some of the very good poets, and I started learning the art of writing. So I was amazed. I thought that just putting down the words is writing poem. It is not. I was amazed to know that this is a very serious stuff. Doha that we basically we have read and we have read several times. We have also we have sang also so many times. It is one of the most difficult form of writing poetry, dohas.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
And I was amazed how our old poets used to write that. And in that, I happened to write several poems. Lord got published also, and Lord got published. Lord got appreciation. One of the poems was picked up by one of the Karnataka singers. She's a lady singer. She is a classical singer. She goes for concert. She liked that poem. She adopted that, and she I would say, made tune also,
Yeah.
composed that. And these are the achievement. And this was about that. You were just touching about this point that how we have graduated from good colleges and how we sort of dilute our learning. It was around that only. And if I am allowed to again share a few lines from that, so it says that only that कच्ची कुटिया थी सच्ची काया कच्ची कुटिया थी सच्ची काया फेर बदल जिसे भवन बनाया मैं ही पुरोचन मैं ही पांडु मैं ही पुरोचन मैं ही पांडव अपना लाक्षागृह मैंने खुद बनाया. So
Wow.
that means that when we were born, we born like a very pious, very serene, I would say, heart. But in the desire to make it a beautiful mansion, we start making it as a Lakshagraha. Lakshagraha again comes from the reference of Mahabharata, which is like we add, and it goes beyond that, that we add lak, we add all sort of vices, our last eye, our greed, our anger. These are the elements of our bhavan which makes it Lakshagraha. So coming back to the subject, so these are the thoughts which we, so you pick up any hobby, be it constructive hobby, be it painting or singing or music, even listening or instrumental or painting or poem writing, story writing. These are different forms, and there are many more.
Yeah.
Even act. So I remember one of my known is into now. He does what's the magic tricks. So these are the stress busters. One must go back to his school days, his childhood, to again bring that out, the child inside him, and this will act like a stress buster for him.
Beautiful. So, audience, can I request all of you to just take a pause the video here, and take a deep breath in. I always inspire people to take DSLE breathing, just like we have got DSLR cameras. So, DSLE deep, slow, long, and easy breathing. Do it 2 or 3 times, and then take a pen and paper. Write down the things which make you happy. Write down the things. Write down your hobbies, whatever you call it. The words is just a name which is given by the world. Write down the things which make you happy, of course, without troubling other people. I'm talking about the hobbies
Exactly.
and these things. So otherwise, there are many people whose eyes will start shining. Nah, it's time. Let me go and do, because Arun also has said that. So anyway, I think so. And think about spending some time. It's all possible. Where there is will, there is way. I just spoke about another things, and of course, before that, and then you can certainly juggle 1 dozen balls. It's possible of different colors. It's all possible. Other thing Ajay spoke about, this is very important, Lakshagri, the mention of Lakshagri. See, because my father-in-law is there, he's the medical in charge in Yogra. He's the medical in chief Yogra. And at any point of time, there are 1,000 people there. And he always says that, if you look at the advertisements, so people will see advertisements which are talking about dar ke aage jeet hai, then you drink something. What is the best drink for you? Water. We all know. I'm not going to give any gyan and all that. Who asked you to build all these energy and this drink and that drink, one drink which makes you here get a straightened up and all that, and then you see you are the person who are creating Lakshagri. It's a very small example. Think over it, and that's another purpose. That's another thing which gives me a purpose, that let me come back to the field of corporate in a different avatar. I'm saying humbly, and let me just see if more and more people can start going back to the basics. Focus, basic. Discipline, basic. Hobbies, basic. Family, give importance, basic. Self-learning, absolutely important. Every year, every week, every day also, I inspire people to learn something from last 24 hours, which are the practices which people do while being a part of magical morning rituals for greatness session. And I'm saying so despite being the person who for many years had not added any additional qualification. Comfort zone. Everything is good. Why to LIC है ना दूसरी जगह क्यों जाओ? So I don't want to get into that because spend more time because I hope you have got the sense. We are the people who are making a lakshagri, be it health, be it career, be it relations, before without respecting other person, with the mindset that this person is liability, we want all the love in this world. And when the girl walks away, when the man or woman walks away, we say, huh, and then we start reading some of these, shero sharis. वो चली गई तो क्या हुआ? Kind of stuff. You all know. So what happens is that, and that's the reason you also see when you look at Bollywood, most of the movies will glorify some of these, things. For example, even in the recent movie which has become a hit, Animal, the scene when the antagonist enters the screen with a glass on his head has become super duper hit. Why? Because people say reflection. Who has created this Lakshagri? I'm just giving a very simple example. The best drink for all of us is to have 2 or 3 glasses of water in the morning, and I think I don't have to say anything. Dot dot dot. Connect it with any in any field that a person is might be facing any problem, and you will find something which is very revealing. Anyway, in case anybody has got any doubt, please feel free to send a message to me. I'll be so happy to hold a separate call with you, maybe for 15 minutes or 20 minutes. I do that on weekends, especially when people want to talk to me. And believe me, it's going to be something dot 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 magical. Great. So Ajay, let's talk a bit about some of these multiple balls which you have been juggling of different colors. You also have been in the field of ethics. I think you have been ethics committee. Would you like to say something about this field of ethics? Because I think it's one of the most important aspects in corporates, and that's the reason Tata Group has been heavily into it. And many companies are not even not there. Yeah.
Yeah, Arun. So I think this is the most important element of anybody's life. And ethics is not about only doing things rightly, it is about practicing things rightly. Um, and it's not related to your professional career, it's about your personal life also. So it's not about not jumping the signal when police person is there or not there. It is about just following that, accepting that this is the ethics, right?
Yeah.
And when I started my career, I
Yeah.
started as a civil engineer, graduate civil engineer, and I happened to join a company which is like what's a UK based company. And this was B2B sales. I was doing
Yeah.
pretty much good there. But one thing I realized is that ethically, I found some of the instances. Well, this is
Yeah.
a small company, right? It's a small company, and I won't name about that. But they were dealing with some of the departments which are not ethical. And this being small company, they did not have so might. So they wanted to follow the path, and that conflicted my value system. I come from defense background. My father has been a big inspiration and strength for me, who has followed his life ethically, did
Yeah.
not match with my value system. That is the reason I had to leave. That I had to change the job, and I changed a couple of jobs, and almost all the companies thereafter were very much ethical. But pinnacle in that is definitely Tata Group. Tata Group is known for their ethical
Pinnacle.
practices, right? And with due respect to all other companies where I've worked, they were also ethical in their respect, but nobody can beat Tata's, right?
Mm-hmm.
And ethics is the big one of the biggest pillars that Tata's is following. That is why maybe they say, you will try to think, and this is not my quote, this is quote by one of the greatest leaders of Tata's only. If try to think of list of the reputed companies, then a lot of companies come to your mind instantly. But if you try to think of companies which are reputed and respected, instantly one company that comes to your mind is Tata's only.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
this has
Yeah.
built over a period of time, right when Jamshedji Nusrawan Tata maybe started this group till now. One pillar which has withstood all the challenges of the time, be it COVID or any other time, is the ethics. This group has not left the path of ethics.
Mm.
And it happened in my career also when I was not part of this group. I was working with some other group, and it happened so that I found that one of our dealers was into some, I would say, unethical practices using the
Mhm.
our brand name, and I wasn't very comfortable. I went ahead and lodged FIR those time many years back. And I tell you, those who are not experienced this, I must say, they must experience filing FIR is not an easy thing. It is one of the most difficult thing. Sometimes it looks like that you are the criminals at times. Just forgive me for using this because the person who is writing FIR wants to be very sure that
Yeah.
you're not filing a wrong complaint, right? So
Yeah.
it challenges you, questions you, tries to be very sure before lodging that complaint. I was part of that, and this got covered by local media also. And ultimately, that party got whatever legal process started.
Mhm.
I got appreciation from the management also, and media also covered that. So the ethics was, as I was saying, ethics is not about practicing only in the organization. Ethics is about practicing in your life, right? When you
Absolutely.
walk on the road, when you are at home, or when you are meeting with your people, ethics is not only about giving or not giving bribes. It is about the way you treat your people, the way you give respect, or the way you extend your hand, you pay back to the society,
Yeah.
or you try to understand the need of society, right? Ethics is all about that. Ethics is a value, right? It is also comes from your upbringing, about your value system, your own beliefs. It is very important. So first
Absolutely.
and foremost thing
Absolutely.
is after being good human being is you need to be ethical also.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
towards
Yeah.
nature, you be very ethical toward nature. If you nobody is seeing, then even then you were throwing some garbage or trash in the open ground. Again, it's not ethical. So be
Yeah. Yeah.
ethical to yourself rather than be ethical to the organization of society. Be ethical towards yourself.
So this is very important because one of the uh, tenets of integrity, the meaning of integrity is that you should do the right thing even when nobody is watching. And there is a parallel which I see in life. What I've seen is that the books which I wrote and the coaching programs which I do and some of the talks which I do while the programs which I conduct, this all became possible for the things which I did when nobody was watching me. All these things happened in early dark morning hours. I always tell people that do not worry about who is watching what and who is not watching. And I always have inspired people to reflect back on one thing. Anybody who has done anything significant. So this is just, I'm not even talking about my example. I'm talking about you think of any person who has done something great. They have been doing something in absolute isolation. Meditation is just one example. Writing is another example. Reflection is another example. Having a morning walk while just thinking about some of the last 24 hours and learning some of the lessons is another example. The best of transformations happen when you are doing something which nobody is watching. And this world is all about making you believe that people talk about jo dikhta hai, wo bikta hai. So this world is all about advertisement, promotion, and this and that, where they are surrounding you, and people also get into believing that it's all about showing, it's all about demonstrating, it's all about kind of being in the limelight, which matters. No, even those people who have been in the limelight, they have come to this stage because they have done something for many years when nobody was watching them, when they were in complete darkness, when nobody knew them, and then there came a day when people started knowing about it. Thank you so much for your time. It's already close to 1 hour. I've just got a couple of signature questions which I'm going to ask you. uh, would you like to talk about some inspiring personalities, or I think you already spoke about some books, some inspiring personalities, people who inspire you the most? I think, of course, before I say so, let me show you. This is the picture which I took at my place a couple of weeks ago when I got this latest book, which is there in all the bookstores across the country, which is all about how to be in the pursuit of excellence. Uh, there is this bust of Jane Tata. It's one person who makes all the difference. I think it's his vision which gives power and courage to people like you while going to the police station and lodging this FIR, which, as you rightly said, is not at all an easy thing. But this is how one person's vision changes the course of action for lakhs of people for hundreds and thousands of years. So that's the power of one person. Would you like to talk about some inspiring people?
So one is definitely you, Arun, not being very, not pampering you, but I have been following you, and the kind of transformation I've seen in your life, it's only because of you being very ethical towards yourself and changing the functions, being an engineer, then to marketing, and then to HR, and then going to become motivational speaker and writer. So I like such people. I was very much inspired by, as I already said, Munshi Premchand, and though his name never comes as a freedom fighter, but for me, he was also a freedom fighter. If you read about him, he had faced a lot of hardship in bringing
Yeah.
out those, I would say, books or writing, despite facing all the hardships at the hands of Britishers. I was also very much inspired by APJ Abdul Kalam. I actually
Hmm.
like people who who I would say come from very humble background, and then they go ahead learning from people and sort of leading a group of people and trying to make a difference. And he is one of the greatest person. I was very fortunate to hear him in one of the sessions also in Delhi. And I must say was a true nationalist, true patriotic person, and a very humble person. And so he inspires me. One you already said, Jamshedji Nusserwan Tata.
Yeah.
Again, a great doyen and a great personality he is. I am also very much inspired by some sports personalities. I was inspired by Anil Kumble, I would say.
Wow. Wow.
Again,
Very. Yeah.
why
Yeah.
Anil Kumble is because he is one sportsman. He say that I have never endorsed any commercials for
Hmm.
financial gains. Again, a great personality. He was criticized for lack because he was not a wrist spinner. Those who know cricket, he is not a wrist spinner. He is not a great turner of ball. Despite that, he goes and makes report. He was one of the largest wicket taker, just using or transforming his weakness into strength. So you are a management guru, you know, in management what we say is you try to build upon your strength. It is very difficult to tra- transform your weakness into strength, right? It is very difficult. He did that. And I always say that if you talk about competency of a person, so competency has got three components: his knowledge, his skill, as well as his attitude or talent, or its, or I would say, passion. It is
Yeah.
very difficult to transform your weakness into your strength. Make that
Yeah.
right. He did that. So again, he is
Yeah.
inspiration for me.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
there are
Wow.
many all good people who I would say can change the life of people are inspiration for me. About books, you said I have read a lot of books. Recently, I read Superstar Syndrome. Now, this is
Okay.
written by Sanjay Jha,
Yeah.
who is a spokesperson of a political party. I do not endorse his political views, but
Yeah.
I was amazed by his writing skills. Very simple
Hmm.
book, very simple book. And the way he narrated, he touched upon the superstars of different fields, from field of science, field of sports, field of medicine. He talked about Oprah Winfrey. He talked about Sachin Tendulkar. He talked about Anita Roddick. So he talks about a lot of
Yeah.
sports or lots of superstars of different
Yeah.
fields, and touched upon that. So one of the must-read book by I personally liked it. Those who are not into heavy stuff, reading into those stuff which are very heavy, a very light, I would say, book to read. Very interesting. So I like reading about personalities, how they make changes. So that's why I said um, for me, Thomas Alva Edison, he was not the greatest
Yeah.
scientist or inventor. He was the greatest businessman because
Yeah.
he was able to market his product,
Knowledge.
which
Yeah.
can make the life
Yeah.
change of the people. So these are the
Yeah.
people who inspire me, Arun.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautifully said, Ajay. So let me give Ajay a few more options. He was talking to books. So Ajay, lighter note. You can check some of these books, and certainly when I meet, I'll certainly see that you get a few copies of some of these books. So I think it's absolutely very insightful a conversation, audience. And if you just go back and reflect on some of the things which we spoke about the power of going back to the roots, the focus, the power of focus, discipline, and some of these things, qualities which are time tested. Even in a world of artificial intelligence, these qualities of discipline and focus are going to always are actually going to become even more relevant in today's times. Number two, we spoke about the fact that don't worry about being seen by people by doing something good. Just do it, because when you do something which when nobody's watching, your soul or your inner being gets transformed. And I can tell you, I'm saying very humbly, I've gone through this experience too, and I've seen this is magical. So do not always do not worry about what others are watching, what others are saying. Just do something which is important, but keep on doing it. We spoke about many things, including the power of doing something which makes us happy. We spoke about the power of parenting. And I think Ajay is the best person. I can't even come closer because I know my wife is going to watch it and she's going to wait for me with something in her hand. You do not talk about it. How much time have you given to your kids? So great. And we spoke about tenets of team working, how to build a great team, leadership. We spoke about many other things. Ajay said another thing which is very important. He was while talking about the books written by Munshi Prem Chand. He spoke about the fact that he was one of the best, very one of the strongest freedom fighters. It's absolutely true. One of his books, Soje Watan, was not released, was not allowed to for release by the then British governments. And I often tell people that often it requires a fiction to talk about the reality in a stronger way. That's the reason some of my books are fiction,
Wow.
actually, but they're not
Well
fiction.
said.
They're not exactly fiction. They are fiction, but they're still not fiction. So, for example, this was the first, but actually, it's not a fiction. It's actually real. So, what happens is that whenever, even when a writer writes a fiction, actually, he's writing based on his own experiences, like Animal Farm, which is a fiction written by George Orwell. But actually, he wanted to show a reflection of the existing government. So even a fiction is not a fiction. दुनिया में आसपास जो भी हो रही है, don't look at things just as something which is happening. It has got a connection. It has got a history. It has got a pattern. It's just that we have to see the pattern which is there. Even I could see the pattern till a few years ago, but when I started seeing, it was magical. Amazing, Ajay, for more than 1 hour time which I have got and which you have spared. Thank you so much. Just one last signature question. If we write a book on the life and journey of Ajay so far, what does Ajay think the title could be?
Oh my God. I don't think Arun, I have achieved so much that anybody would write a book on me. But yeah, if I have to write a book on myself, then I said that the name which instantly comes to my mind is, again going back to that, passionate, lucky juggler.
The great an audience is very important point. What Ajay said is very important. I certainly see many books within Ajay. I certainly see many books within each one of you, though I think many of you might not have interacted with me. When I say book, inverted comma, what I mean to say is that I see a lot of inspiring potential and performance also in many cases, which are there within each person. It's just that some people are able to unleash it. Some people will keep on waiting. Some people do it partially, and some people will not even know that they had so much of power within them. And that's the reason somebody said that the richest place on this planet Earth are some of these, graveyards where many companies,
Wow.
many books, many things are hidden without some of these people ever knowing that they had it within them.
Wow.
Even I didn't know this till a few years ago when I started seeing that everybody has got a lot of things. It just there is a way for us to unleash. So Ajay, I'll just share with you something because we are discussing this topic. What I initially I wrote and then I spoke and then I used to conduct some programs. Then I found that unless people take action, nothing is going to happen. And that is something which made me a one-to-one virtual coach. So I do a lot of these coaching programs, mostly on
Wow.
weekends. Morning as people join me from corporates.
Wow.
One session for 45 minutes a week goes for 4 months time. And within first week itself, people start seeing that something is coming up. And then life gets transformed based on actions. It's not me, it's the student who is more powerful because I do not choose a student chooses me. Just like I have been sending these messages for coming as the guest in Heart to Heart Conversations to many people. Some people come. It's not me who has chosen, it's Ajay who has chosen me. Thank you so much, Ajay. for being a part of
Thanks.
this heartfelt conversation. It's so inspiring for me to have you. Stay
Thanks.
blessed,
Thanks,
stay
Arun.
great. And audience, thank you so much for watching. Stay blessed, stay great, because it's you who add value and inspiration to this ongoing series of heartfelt conversation. Thank you, Ajay. Have a great Sunday.
Thanks, Arun. It was all pleasure to be.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank
Bye.
you.